So recently I had a question online about motivation, and it's gotten me to think a lot about the topic. One of the things that's easy to do is to hop online and Google motivation. And I think what you'll come across is probably some version of a listicle, top 10 ways to stay motivated as an artist. And, they'll include things like, take a walk in nature, go to a cafe, talk to a friend, go to the library, those sorts of things. And those are all sort of true. One of the things that I think we very rarely see on those listicles are like, put your butt in a chair, grab a pen and paper and get to work. I think that's always a thing. And certainly that has to do, I think, with self-discipline as much as anything. And maybe I'll do a video on self-discipline here in the future. Let me know if you'd like that. So with that in mind, I thought today we'd have a little walk and talk and discuss motivation and talk about, ironically, my top 5 tools for motivation. Okay? So today's video, I'm going to splice in a little bit of footage that I recorded of me sketching in my sketchbook, which is, as I mentioned earlier, that first step in motivation. Sit down, start to draw. So at some point there'll be a clever fade and all of a sudden be just a disembodied voice again. Which brings us to the first point of motivation. And I think it's important to have a place that you sketch or draw or create, do your thing, that's solely just for you. I think there's plenty of stuff to put online to market your work or to, put it out there and get the accolades from your friends and things like that. But the first and foremost thing, I think, is to have a private space. Oftentimes, I think people are creative because it's a part of who they are. And that brings us to the second point that I want to make. And the second one comes from my friend and mentor, my teacher. His name is Mark Eanes. I'll leave a link to his YouTube channel below. And so one of the things that I learned from Mark was about the poet Rilke. And moreover, there's a book called Letters to a Young Poet. And just to paraphrase, basically, in the book Letters to a Young Poet, there's a young poet, and Rilke, who is a famous German poet. If you don't know him, highly recommend. And basically what the young poet is asking Rilke is, am I good enough? Is my work good enough? And Rilke's response is, essentially, you are asking outside for inside answers. And the real question that we need to ask ourselves is this a necessity? Do I have to do this? Is this a thing I must do? And each of us need to ask that question. And I would urge you to ask it at multiple times in your life. And if you find yourself with the answer of, no, this is not something I must do, then leave it behind. It's fine. Go and find what it is that's more fulfilling for you. And that's okay. It's fine to set things down, pick them up, and pick up new things and set those down too until you find what's good for you. However, if you find yourself answering yes to that question, yes, it is a necessity that I draw, that I paint, that I make art, that I make music, or whatever it is that you do to create, then build your life accordingly. What does that mean? Well, it means that that's something that you have to do, something that you must do. And so you can sort of build your life around that. In my own personal experience, one of the reasons that I got a first out-of-the-house studio was exactly this, that my life had been turned topsy-turvy and that I was put in a position where the world was my oyster. I could do whatever I wanted. And what do you want to do? And I asked myself this question, and I realized that I must draw, I must paint. This is something that I have to do. In fact, I get crabby if I go a couple days and not do it. So I think that this was the motivation for getting that studio. And through a series of events, that studio leads me to my current position. This leads me to the current projects that I'm working on, etc. Because you're laying a foundation for that. You're allowing that to be a part of your life. So the next thing that I want to talk about is accountability groups. Having a critique group or somebody to be accountable to is a great way to keep ourselves moving forward with our work, whatever stage we're at. I think the important part of an accountability group or a critique group is that they are also motivated in the same way, that they've made it a function of their life to do this work as well. So once you find a group of people like that, continue to go and that can be sometimes enough to, you know, spur you on to do the next project, or, oh, I've got a meeting, I better do something for that, and that'll help to keep you moving forward. Likewise, you can also do just basically, if you're having a hard time finding people who are either online or near you or whatever, that you can start to do online courses. I've certainly used Domestika courses. I mean, there's a lot of options out there now. There's got to be like, there's like Skillshare, there's Domestika, there's Gumroad, which is a really good one as well. So you can go and support the artists who are making the content that you enjoy, and then, you know, buy a PDF or a video course and just do the exercises. And sometimes that could be enough to get you going again. And sort of the final thing I'll say broadly about motivation is to set an intention. Give yourself a real goal. And when I say real goal, I mean, like, I'm going to draw every day for the rest of my life. Sure, some people can do that. I'm not that guy. But I think that, oh, I'm going to go to a book conference. I am going to go to an event where I need to have something that is going to be presented. I'm going to, you know, set this goal to have my, you know, submission to an art director by this point or that point or whatever. And, you know, give yourself whatever motivation is necessary for that. You can think in terms of carrot and stick. I know that one stick that tends to work is that, you know, if you don't do it by a certain point, you would donate money to some cause that's antithetical to yourself. And another sort of carrot might be that you think about something that's really cool, a toy, a present, a thing that would be a nice gift for yourself, something that's cool. And you're like, man, I would really like that thing. Well, set that as your goal. Like, okay, if I meet my goal, then I will buy this for myself. And so you can get yourself to move forward in that way. So those are basically my top 5 things that I've used over time. And I think that the final word on the subject of motivation should be something along the lines of understanding why you are feeling unmotivated. This may in fact be the very first question you need to ask yourself. Why is it that you don't feel like doing the work that you're doing, or that you feel burned out, or whatever? Is it because you have oversaturated yourself with online information and all of a sudden now you feel like your work is not measuring up and blah, blah, blah? Is it some false sense of like, I should be at this point in my life by now, I'm not there, why am I not there? Those can be demotivating factors. You know, crippling self-doubt is always a fun one. Or it could be something, you know, external. It could be like a big event happened in your life and you're feeling completely washed out from it. Those are all very real things. And you know, they're not going to have a one-size-fits-all solution. But it may be worth going and seeking help from, you know, a therapist or someone to talk with, just so that you can work through those things, so you can get back to your sort of natural state of being and creating work. So I hope this helps. I hope that these topics, these ideas are something that you can try, something that you can use to try and get yourself back to the drawing board, or back to the creation space, wherever you might be working your stuff. But let me know if you would like more of this kind of content, or better yet, if you have things that have helped to motivate you, would you please leave a comment below? I would love to hear about those kind of things from everybody out there. So thank you again for subscribing and liking the video, and I'll see you next time.